that all the partners at Sunlux left top-tier positions at other solar companies. Why? To do solar better than that. It's why Sunlux is an LG and Tesla Platinum contractor. The best system, the best battery solutions, the best service, the best warranty, and a solar company who is straight with you from day one. Hey, it's time for solar. Get started at sunlux.com. That's sunlux.com. DSLB 100837.
Some people treat investing like a game, but Marcus by Goldman Sachs approaches investing in a smart way, with digitally managed portfolios that leverage Goldman Sachs strategies. So, you want to play games, or do you want your money to work smart? You can money. Visit Marcus.com to learn more about saving, borrowing, and investing from Marcus by Goldman Sachs.
Investing involves risk and investments may lose value. Brokerage and investment advisory services by Goldman Sachs and Company, LLC. Member FINRA, SIPC. Lending and deposits by Goldman Sachs Bank USA, member FDIC.
When you become a caregiver, you have lots of questions, like what medical supplies do you need? And how do I choose an adult diaper? Carewell is here to help. It's your shop for everything caregiving. Great products like Depend, Ensure, and Tranquility at prices you'll love. With real caregiving specialists available 24/7, ready to help. Plus, fast, free 1 to 2 day shipping. Caregiving isn't easy, but you don't have to do it alone. Visit carewell.com/radio for $10 off. That's carewell.com/radio. Terms apply. This is your moment. The moment to perfect the delicate art of swaddling. The moment for bonding time, family time, and a little tummy time. The moment to remember that these are the moments that matter. If you're a new mother welcoming a baby into your family, paid family leave can provide you up to 8 weeks of partial weight replacement. This is your moment. Take it. To learn more, visit CaliforniaPaidFamilyLeave.com. Moments matter.
For official rules and more information about contests on this station, go to KFIAM640.com/rules. Well, hey, how are you today? It's me, Leo Laporte, and what a week in tech this has been. New computers from Apple, new phones from Google, and then there's that Samsung thing. It's all happening this week, and I'll talk about it, give you the latest tech news, and answer your tech questions. I do that every weekend. Right here, I'm Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Actually, think of me as Leo Laporte, your tech guy. Join me, won't you? I'll be looking for you. Leo Laporte, this morning at 11. KFI AM 640. More stimulating talk. Sharp, the House Whisperer. You are listening to Home, where every week we help you better understand that place where you live. Hey, coming up in just a few minutes. Few moments. I was going to say moments, and then I switched it to minutes, and it came out min. So, there you go. Coming up in a few min, we're going to go to the phone. The number to reach me, 833-2-ASK-DEAN. 833, the number 2. Ask Dean. All right, let us dive into this murky, confusing, interesting subject of defining and decoding what the heck is a contemporary home. All right, so there's maybe 4 or 5 lessons to learn today, maybe 5. The lesson number 1, right at the top of the board, is no. It's not a modern house. It's a contemporary house. Okay. Now, see, that just starts the conversation off in a weird place, doesn't it? But that's where I have to start. Sounds like we're splitting hairs. If it were up to me, no, it wouldn't be this confusing. But I am not one of the gods of architecture. And honestly, I don't exactly know where this all started. It was very, very little foresight given. You remember the 20th century? Remember back there, the old 1900s kind of thing? Back in the old 1900s, in about, let's say the late 1920s, a whole new style of building started to emerge, a whole new style of design. It was kind of shaken off all of the old traditional motifs and using the most modern current building practices and materials, and it had a desire to, step into the modern world. We all understand that? The modern world, right? It's like what's new, what's happening. So, that was the very first in all of human history, truly modern house movement, okay? So, has that continued? What about the stuff that's being produced today? Are these modern houses? No, they're not. Not according to the gods of architecture. The gods of architecture have decided that the word modern is now a historical term. I know this is where it's confusing because outside of the world of architecture and art, in the real world, in reality, where we all move around, we use the words contemporary and modern interchangeably, and rightly so. I am not reproving you for doing that. I am simply saying, when it comes to art and architecture, modern is a historical term, weird as it may be. Specifically, it relates to the period of time from the late 20s through the 1950s, and then it pretty much ends. I mean, it's not that a modern house can't be made. In fact, ironically, I can build a brand new modern house today. But if I build, let's say, a mid-century modern house today, it's the same as me building a Victorian house, or a craftsman house, or a Spanish revival house. In other words, it's a traditional house. It is not a contemporary house. It is a modern house, meaning it harkens back to, I know. Anyway, the easiest way that I know how to explain this to you is to put it this way. Contemporary. A contemporary home is always, so far, who knows what they're going to call these in 20 years, but a contemporary home is always the homes we are building now utilizing the full spectrum of contemporary architecture, style, materials, and building techniques. Okay, a contemporary home is, in theory, the cutting edge of what is today. Okay, a modern home, in other words, a contemporary home is new, truly new. What is new? A modern home is what was new back then, but now is not new, and therefore it's not contemporary, it's modern. All right. This is the sound of me attempting to crumple up my notes and throw them away, because this kind of frustrates me every time I have to explain it. But that's kind of how it works. So it is a contemporary home. All right. Right. All right. Second thing. Second lesson. A contemporary home may appear somewhat simple, but that, I assure you, is an illusion, because they are actually, in fact, just the opposite. They are filled with typically open, voluminous space and walls of glass. That requires a lot of forethought, a lot of engineering, okay, to have a wall full of glass and not actually a wall there, because there's this thing on Earth called gravity, and gravity has an effect on houses. It tends to make them want to fall down. And so engineering has to replace, a lot of brain power has to replace what otherwise would be a solid wall of darkness without windows in it coming in. The simplicity of the finish of a contemporary home also. I cannot state this enough. I tell you what, when as a builder in past life, when we would turn in a bid or an estimate for a contemporary finish on a home, homeowners their jaws sometimes would drop. They would like, oh, I thought this house would be cheaper to build than some traditional, home. And because they expected the fact that we're not using moldings anywhere. It's like, well, there's no crown molding in the room, and there's no casing around the doors, and there's no big, tall baseboards. I mean, there's less materials. Why isn't this thing cheaper? And I have to look at them in the face and say, because there's less materials. Let me tell you, a good piece of crown molding covers a multitude of sins when it comes to the top, where the top of a wall meets the ceiling, for instance. I'll just use this as one example. There are no moldings on a contemporary home to distract you, or very, very few at least, to distract you from the fact that the wall may be a little wonky or crooked or there may be a wave in the roof. No. These are tight, fully exposed edges, which means the drywall has to be finished. That's what we call a Type 5 drywall finish, and it is expensive. Okay, I got a lot to talk about decoding contemporary homes for you today, but when we come back, we've had some people take our advice. We've got calls on the board. Your call's next. But first, Brian Broom.
Well, detectives say they hope a $15,000 reward will help solve a murder in La Fuente. LA County Sheriff's investigators say Christopher Perez is most likely shot during a robbery. The shooting happened December 11th, 2020 at around 11:20 p.m. Perez's sister Angela says her brother was loved by everyone and was not involved with a gang.
For everybody out there, just put yourself in my shoes and know that just other violence, other dumb violence that it seems like it's never going to end. It can happen to anybody.
Detectives say Perez was near the restroom at Bassett Park when he was approached by some guys. They say they hope the reward will prompt a witness to come forward. He's Gregory Kfi News. News brought to you by Rooter Hero. The DEA is having a National Prescription Drug Take-Back Day. Anyone can turn in expired or unused prescription drugs for disposal at sites throughout Southern California today until 2. You can also turn in vaping devices and cartridges. To find a location, you can visit www.deatakeback.com. New details have been released on the timeline of the response to the oil spill off the coast of Orange County. OC Sheriff spokeswoman Terry Braun said the Harbor Patrol boat checked out reports of a fuel spill at 5:30 p.m. the day before the oil spill was discovered.
And then at about 8 p.m., the Coast Guard contacted the Sheriff's Department Harbor Patrol office in Newport to request our assistance.
Braun says by then it was too dark to find oil in the water. She says the agencies all